Hey everyone, welcome back. My name's Dustin Kreis, and today we are going to do a pickups video. It's been a while since I've done one of these, and things have a tendency to not disappear, but kind of get misplaced before I do these, because I'm not doing these monthly anymore because I don't pick up that much stuff per month. So there's probably going to be some stuff in here that I've missed around the house, and then there's probably going to be some stuff in here that I might have already shown in the previous pickups video, because honestly I can't remember what I have shown in the video and what I haven't, because these are so infrequent nowadays. But anyway, let's go ahead and get this started. Got a nice big selection of things here. It's really, since the beginning of the year, it's really been a big deluge of games, and unfortunately I am really falling behind on picking up certain video game releases, and I'm really falling behind on playing the ones I have. So I kind of want to play the ones I have before I pick up anything more. If something comes out and I think it's going to be hard to find later on, or if it's a series that I definitely want to support at the get-go, I will buy it day one, but for the most part nowadays, I'm just kind of letting things just slide. I'll eventually get either the games for dirt cheap, or there'll be a Game of the Year edition out that I get everything in one package by the time I actually get around to buying the games. And that's working out well so far. But let's go ahead and start this. We're going to start with something that I really should have made a video on back when I got it. Once again, the sort of the AGP community, which sadly, because AGP is kind of infrequent, I sadly kind of feel like it's kind of fallen by the wayside a little bit. But we still had a Secret Santa with the small group of people that we do it with. And I had Senkai from Accent on Gamers, and he sent me some really awesome stuff. Thankfully, the PS4 is region free, so I can actually throw this stuff in. Now, if I want to get some of the DLC, I'm going to have to do some finagling with a European, setting up a European account, but that's not really that big of a deal. And also, these two games, I don't really see myself picking up the DLCs for them. But he got me Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain. I've really been meaning to get around to this one because I did a big marathon of all the Metal Gear games. And then I have Ground Zeroes, but I didn't want to throw it in because I wanted to do Ground Zeroes and Phantom Pain sort of back to back. So now I can do that. When I get to it, I just don't know. I do want to eventually get to it because I really want to see where this one goes. Even though some people have expressed some, misgivings with it because of the way that the game was sort of, the way Kojima was sort of removed, from Konami afterwards, and it doesn't really, I guess it doesn't really have an ending. I guess the ending is a DLC, which I may look into that, but really awesome gameplay-wise, and I think it just falls a little bit short narrative-wise from the other Metal Gear. So we'll see how that goes when I get to it. Another awesome one that I really want to get to, but I don't know, because I'm playing a game right now that's going to take me a very long time to beat. That's Mad Max. I love Mad Max. I've loved Mad Max since the 80s. And I'm really looking forward to having a video game experience in that world. You kind of get it with Fallout. You kind of get it with like Rage. But this is Mad Max, supposed to be just like the movies. I'm really looking forward to getting into this one. Senkai also found this for me, which was a Nintendo Power poster for Dragon Quest, but back then it was called Dragon Warrior. Dragon Warrior 3 from a Nintendo Power magazine, and on the back it has a little bit of probably a continuation of the article from the magazine on the back of it. I don't know, I don't really think I'd be able to find a frame unless I get a custom frame built for this. But this is something I might look into getting a custom frame for, because Dragon Quest 3 is, of course, still my favorite Dragon Quest game. That's maybe just because of nostalgia, and like when it came out, it was absolutely perfect. And nostalgia is a very big thing with me. Another thing he got me, the last thing he got me, was a comic book for Dark Souls 2, Dark Souls 2 in the Light. And I completely almost forgot about this until I got ready for this video. So I'm going to have to go up and leaf through this and take a look and see what's in the comic book. It's all in black and white, which, you know, I like my color comics every now and then, but there's something about a black and white image, especially with like Sin City and things like that. It just adds so much to it. So that was my Secret Santa gift from Senkai. Really, thanks a lot, man. I do love this stuff. When I get to the games, I don't know, but I'm going to get to them eventually. So then into the stuff that I purchased. Again, not too much stuff. Some of this stuff I've already done game discussions on. We'll talk about those ones first. Picked up Dragon Quest Builders. It's Dragon Quest. It's released in the West officially. Had to buy it day one to support the series over here. And I actually found this to be a really great game. I did a game discussion on it. If you guys want to see more about that, go check that video. I also picked up Zelda Breath of the Wild. Could not let this one pass. Plus, Nintendo games never get cheap. So I was like, might as well buy it day one. Once again, I've already done a game discussion on this. This is a phenomenal game. A phenomenal advancement in the series. You know, if you've played other games like, I guess Witcher 3 is really quite similar to this in terms of its scope and everything. It might not blow you away as much as it did me, but for them to take this much for Nintendo to take this much of a risk with Zelda is really something amazing and something to support. So check that out. Like I said with Dragon Quest Builders, I of course had to pick up Dragon Quest VIII: Journey of the Cursed King. Really a great port. I was really worried that it was going to be kind of scaled down a little bit for the 3DS. I don't know why. There is maybe the colors are a little bit more saturated or something. There is something about it that feels a tiny smidge off, but unless you've played the PS2 game, I really don't feel like it's going to bother you all that much. In some ways, it actually does look a lot better than the PS2 game, but in some ways not. It's weird. But at the same time, this is the exact same game from all those years ago. It's one of the, if not the best, not my favorite, but the best Dragon Quest game so far. We'll see if 11 can knock it out off its pedestal, but this is like the perfect combination of the old schoolness of Dragon Quest with a beautiful, amazing coat of paint. So if you guys have not checked out Dragon Quest VIII, definitely pick it out. It's my favorite PS2 RPG. Now there's some PS2 RPGs that I haven't played yet, but it's still my favorite PS2 RPG, and that's not just because of my love of Dragon Quest. I really do think it's an amazing RPG. I also picked up Nier Automata. I love the Nier series. I love the Dragon Guard series. I'm going to be doing a game discussion on this probably when I get done with this video. I don't want to talk too much about this, but guys, this is one of the best games released this year. It is amazing. It's amazing that just how the game is structured. It's structured a lot differently than your normal RPGs. If you've played Nier, if you've played any of the Dragon Guards, you know kind of how it's structured. But it's not as straightforward as most RPGs are nowadays, and it really, I don't know, it really leaves its mark on you. So I'm going to wait for the game discussion to talk about that, but another fantastic game. I am currently playing this one, and this one is going to take me quite a bit of time to finish, and that, of course, is Persona 5. My jaw is on the floor with this one, guys. This is an astounding game. I don't understand how Atlus, because, you know, other RPG series have had their ebbs and flows, right? It just seems like every time Atlus puts out an SMT game or Persona game, it's flat out amazing in terms of its narrative, in terms of its gameplay. In terms of its gameplay, Persona hasn't really changed all that much since Persona 3. But to keep the narrative as strong and the characters as rich, even games like Final Fantasy can't keep a really good narrative flow going game to game, and sometimes the characters fall flat. It never happens in Persona. Never happens. They're always just, your jaw is just on the floor all the time, and the label is kind of sticking out, and that bothers me, so I'm going to fix that. So definitely, if you're a JRPG fan, or if you've never played a Persona game like this would be a great one for you guys to start with, because it is just, so good. My friend Ernie, somehow he got some extra stuff, and one of the extras he got was this. and he sold it to me for slightly less than, not slightly less, a little bit less than the going retail. Uncharted 4: A Thief's End, and it's still sealed because I'm probably not going to get to it anytime soon, and I still haven't played Uncharted 3. So he sold me this for like $30, and yeah, I really looking forward to it. I really like I like Uncharted 1 and Uncharted 2. Haven't played 3 yet, but I'll eventually get around to this one, and we'll go from there. And that's it for the games. Oh no, it's not. I picked up Darkest Dungeon on the Vita and was playing it for a while, and I was really enjoying my time with it. But then I kind of got sick of playing it because it kind of feels the same thing over and over and over again, and it kind of becomes a little bit of a grind as it goes on. So I thought, well, maybe if I just set it down, take a break from it, and come back to it a little bit later, I'll be refreshed and ready to go with it again. But I really enjoy it. Really a hardcore RPG that kind of harkens back to some older games, but at the same time, it really feels like it's something fresh and something new. On the DVD Blu-ray front, of course, had to pick up Rogue One. This is an amazing movie, especially if you really care about the original trilogy more than like the prequels and things like that. Although it does an amazing job of bridging the prequels and the original trilogy, and really kind of brings the prequels, I would say, in kind of a new light a little bit. I went on and on about how great The Force Awakens was when it came out, but this one really kind of, when you sit back and think about it, this one really kind of blows away The Force Awakens. And that last couple minutes of this movie, my jaw was just on the floor, and I was like a little kid just squealing with glee at what I was watching on the screen. So if you haven't watched Rogue One yet, definitely give it a shot, especially if you find if you found Force Awakens kind of lacking, you may find this one to be more of what you want. Picked up Sherlock Series 4, and this one, I've been a big, huge fan of Sherlock ever since it started, and it's kind of getting a little too Moffat-y for me. And what that is, I like Stephen Moffat. I think he is a great writer. I think he's a great developer of shows, but he has a tendency to make these really great things, and then he has to top the great thing. And you see it a lot in Doctor Who as well, especially since he took over during the Matt Smith years and the Peter Capaldi years. It's just another up the ante, up the ante, up the ante, up the ante, and it has a tendency to start to feel like it's going off the rails a little bit. And while I still really, really loved Sherlock Series 4, it does kind of feel like Sherlock is going off the rails a little bit. And maybe if they get around to doing a Series 5, which who knows at this point, these two guys are insanely busy, and who knows when that's going to happen. But if they get around to doing a Series 5, I would like them to maybe kind of scale it back a little bit. Still had an amazing time watching it. I still thought it was really great. But when I got to the end of it, I would say that this season is better than 3. 3 really kind of just... I liked season 3, but it really kind of just, at the end of it, felt like, okay, I guess that's fine. It didn't have the same punch as season 1 and 2. And this had that punch, but at the same time, you're kind of feeling like things are spiraling out of the writer's control. So, anyway, season 4 of Sherlock still really had a really great time with it. Picked up this blast from the past. This is an anime that I watched back in the Sci-Fi Channel days when they did Saturday morning anime, and I've always wanted to rewatch it and watch it again because it was one of my favorite ones that I watched around that time, with like Akira was playing, and Record of Lodoss War, and Vampire Hunter D. And that is Iria, the Zerum animation. Really, I really love this one, and for a long time I just could not find it. And then eventually was it Funimation? Is this Funimation? I don't know who is doing this. Eastern Star Discotech Media. I don't know. That's Discotech Media. Anyway, they did a sort of a reissue of this on DVD, and I definitely picked it up. Haven't got around to watching it yet because I've been insanely busy. Like, life is just knocking me with one thing after another. But I do plan on getting to this sometime soon because I really, really dug this when I was a teenager, and I'd like to see it again and see if it holds up. It's only 6 episodes long, so I should be able to burn through it pretty quick. And that does it for the DVD movies. I have a couple things on pre-order, but they haven't been released yet, so we'll worry about them in the next video. Next up is some music. Didn't pick up very much vinyl this time, but Ernie did sell me. Some reason he got an extra copy of this, and he gave it to me. He just said, I don't need it, and so he gave me a copy of Everybody's Gone to the Rapture soundtrack on vinyl. I have this on my PS4. I downloaded it. I have not got around to playing it yet because I'm running out of time. I have no time to do this stuff anymore. So I will get around to it eventually. I don't want to listen to this yet until I've played the game. And he kind of told me to not listen to it till after you played the game because the music, I guess, can kind of be a spoiler, or it can kind of, if you've listened to it beforehand and you're playing the game, it kind of ruins it somehow. So I don't want to do that quite yet. I kind of want to play the game first, but still, I think it's really awesome that I have that. He really loved the soundtrack. I think I will love the soundtrack as well. This was an album I bought digitally, and then I absolutely love it, and it's one of my favorite albums of last year. And I just had to get it on vinyl. I don't know what it is. I had to have a physical copy of it, and that's Sturgill Simpson's A Sailor's Guide to the Earth. This is a country album. I'm not the biggest country fan. I do like some country, but this and his other two albums are just amazing. And I'm literally going to follow this guy, whatever he does from here on out. This is an amazing album. Really love it. Had to get it on vinyl, even though I've had it on digital since it was released. Another album that I have digitally, but I did not get it legitimately, that I really wanted the vinyl experience on because it's my favorite thing that these guys have done. That is Sun's Domkirke, or I'm probably pronouncing that incredibly wrong. Sun or Sun-O, the Drone Masters. I had to get this on vinyl, and I'm really glad that I did because it has the vinyl, or the music itself has a very deep sound to it, coupled with the vinyl on my speakers and sort of how my living room not really echoes, but how the sound carries really well. It's almost cathedral-like because they recorded this in a cathedral, so you could almost feel like you're slightly in a cathedral listening to it. I'm really glad I picked it up. I love to just blast this thing and hear it shake the house. Really a great album. If you haven't checked this out, Sun's Domkirke, however you want to say it. Okay, and that leads us to my latest addiction. My latest addiction, I've really been getting back into tabletop RPGs. And it's been a long desire for me because I started playing Dungeons and Dragons around 3.5. And we played it pretty heavily for, a couple years. And then everyone just got busy with life and things like that, and we just couldn't do it anymore. So it's always been a sort of a thing in the back of my head, like, God, I really want to play a tabletop RPG again. So it first started off with me getting back into Pathfinder because we have a game store here in town. They do Pathfinder Society, and I bought the Humble Bundle, which I think I talked about in a previous video. Of Pathfinder did a Humble Bundle where you get like the beginner's box and then a shit ton of PDFs. So I had all these Pathfinder PDFs. But the core rule book, I wanted the core rule book, and I purchased the core rule book, and I didn't bring it down here. I think I might have shown it off in an older video. I don't know. So getting back into Pathfinder really made me want to try out some other things. And since Dungeons and Dragons was, my first love, I decided to pick up the D&D Player's Handbook for 5e. Now, 5e really kind of goes back to the more classic feel of the game, whereas 4th edition was more of a video gamey style of Dungeons and Dragons. I didn't really care for it. It focused more on combat, and I think combat in RPGs is fun, but I more like the social interactions of the characters and the world and the exploration type stuff. So it goes back more to that, and I really, really, really dig that. So I was reading this, and I got the itch, man. I really got the itch. And talking with some of my friends that live around me, I was like, I'm thinking about doing it. I'm thinking about starting to DM, GM, whatever you want to call it. I'm really thinking about doing this. So I picked up the Dungeons Master's Guide and started reading it, and just got super, super excited. Just really wanted to do this. So I really kind of threw myself in head first, and I've read all these books cover to cover multiple times. I also got the Monster Manual, and I am currently GMing a game, and I'm really happy because my players are excited about it. They really want to do it. They are clamoring me for, when are we doing it again? I don't have to drag people into it. Like, it's such an amazing feeling right now. So I was looking into creating my own campaign, and let me tell you, creating your own campaign from the ground up it's a life's work. Like, I'm going to still do it, but it's going to take me so long to actually create my own campaign, and I didn't want to wait. I did not want to wait. So I picked up the 5th edition starter set, which the dice with it are still in there because I have my own dice, of course. Picked up the 5th edition starter set and the module Lost Mine of Phandelver. And I've been running this, and I thought that maybe running a manual would be, or a module would be a little restrictive, but it's the interactions with your other players. I mean, you can run this stuff and really make it come alive. And I've been really surprised at how good this feels. I thought it'd feel a little railroady and stuff like that, but it really hasn't. So I've been running the Lost Mine of Phandelver, and then after this gets done, the players should be around level 5, and then I'm going to take them through Princes of the Apocalypse, which is basically the 5th edition version of the Temple of Elemental Evil. It's been moved to the Forgotten Realms world instead of being in Greyhawk, but it's essentially the Temple of Elemental Evil, and that'll get us up to like level 14 or 15, and then maybe after that I'll run them through the Tomb of Horrors and just wipe them all out. That would be a fun thing to do. So anyway, I've really been getting back into this. This is becoming my, like, I'm still video gaming when I can. Like today I've been playing some P5. When I get done with this video, I'm probably going to go play some P5 before I film my Nier Automata video to get my voice a rest. But I've been, playing this stuff, but I've been playing video games, but I've really been diving really back into tabletop RPGs. So much so that I've been buying a lot of rule books just for my own enjoyment, because I actually enjoy reading these rule books. So I decided to pick myself up a 2nd edition Advanced Dungeons and Dragons Player's Guide, just because Player's Handbook. Sorry, let me get the terminology correct. Because I wanted to read more, because I started with a D20 system, but I wanted to read more about how it was back in the day with like THAC0 and how like a thief's rules are incredibly different than every other class and all that kind of stuff. So I bought this not thinking I'm ever going to run advanced D&D, but just because I wanted to see like how the game has progressed. Just more of a history lesson. And if you guys want, maybe I'll do a separate video about these books and about things. I know I've already shown off the actual rule book for this game, but another game I've really been looking into, because I want to use these as inspirations for creating my own campaign, and for inspiration, maybe I can even just because the basic fantasy role-playing game is basically 3rd edition kind of stripped back, so it feels more like classic D&D with less options. Because when you get into things like Pathfinder, or if you start playing like 3.5 Dungeons and Dragons, like Pathfinder can, at the beginning when you first start out, can feel overwhelming because there's so many options, there's so many books, there's so many classes, so many feats. Good God, there's an amazing amount of feats. So Pathfinder, like right now, can be really intimidating to start up playing. So I'm looking for like different things, just to get different ideas on different things. So I picked up the Basic Fantasy Role-Playing Game, 3 of their modules, the Adventure Anthology 1, Morgan's Fort, and the Chaotic Caves. And these are print on demand. I mean, they're just black and white. They feel really classic. They're just print on demand from Amazon. Like, they don't even make them until you order them, and then they ship them out. And like, these are like $3 a piece. $3 a piece. The rule book for Basic Fantasy Role Playing is only like $5. So if you've never played like an RPG, and you think like the $50 price tag for the D&D 5 edition handbook is ridiculous, which it is, buy it on Amazon for like half that price. Look into Basic Fantasy Role Playing, and you'll get the experience you want, and an idea of how to play the games for next to nothing. And what I mean next to nothing is, if you want to, you can just go to basicfantasyroleplaying.com.org. I'm not sure what it is. It's actually, basicfantasy.org. It's right there on the book. And you can download all these modules for free as PDFs. Like, they only charge the print on demand, and then it seems like it's only the cost of the actual paper and the printing of the book. So, been reading those, and my new love, the thing I'm reading now, and I really want to run this game. I really want to run and play this game, both sides. I want to do both things. Call of Cthulhu. This is the 7th edition book. I just got this the other day, and I just ordered myself some Cthulhu dice, which are basically is just a set of dice that look creepy. That's all it is. But I really want to. I really like this game. I really like the system. I like that it's not combat heavy. It's not really rules heavy, even though this is a thick book. When you actually get into actually playing the game, it's more about the narrative and more about the experience of exploring a crusty old mansion or something like that, and then having your character go insane from finding some kind of celestial horror, or cosmic horror, I guess I should say, since it's the Cthulhu mythos. But I've been really enjoying perusing through this. This is also, if you like the Cthulhu mythos, this is also a great book for you to get, just period, because it has a lot of great information in it, and if you like Lovecraft stories, I feel like you should have this book anyway. Even if you don't even plan on playing the game, you should definitely get, maybe not this one since it's like $50, but you could get like an older edition for half the price. Like 6th edition rule book, I think you can buy for like $25 used. So look into that to have that, because even though it's a game, you might not plan on running the game. It almost feels like a great Lovecraft resource. So anyway, guys, that is it. That was a lot of stuff, a lot of D&D stuff. Again, since I'm getting back into the tabletop stuff, if you guys want to see more tabletop stuff, I can try to make videos about that. And I guess just keep on the lookout for the Nier Automata video, because I'll be doing that one next. And I guess that's it. So I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Take care. I'll see you next time.